Hey, good day, everyone. Look what just came in the mail. So, for those of us who've been waiting anxiously, the Car Wars Kickstarter is fulfilling and arriving all over the place. You can see posts on social media. And I just wanted to do a real quick unboxing and show some of the stuff. I'm going to just sort of dive right in. I'm going to try to get past. There's a lot of stuff in this. This is a double ace pledge level, which include the base game plus a lot of extras. I'm going to jump past some of the extras early on just to get to the base game, so anybody who wants to purchase Car Wars out in the retail world will get to see what they want to get, what they're going to get. But I will also then go back and sort of touch on all this stuff. So anyway, getting to it, Car Wars is here. And this is the giant shipping box. I mean, it came boxed within another brown box, but this is the shipping box for the, as I said, the double ace pledge. So it has like all of the, not just the base game, but again, all the other things that the double ace pledge came, extra cars, extra counters, road tiles, and whatnot. And it's in this massive cube that weighs quite a bit. It's probably about 15 inches on a side. And it has this, has a really nice wrap with the old school. This is an homage to the original Car Wars cover. If we look back at the old pocket boxes, look how tiny that thing was. The literal pocket boxes, which has the sort of the car and the van and the motorcycle at the top. Unfortunately, they had to make some changes, obviously, to the art because there's no motorcycles in the new version yet. Many of us are hoping that they're going to add that in a new expansion. There's also no trucks yet, so no trucks, no motorcycles, just pretty much cars, and that sort of thing. Oh yeah, and I also have, here's the old Sunday Drivers pocket box too. I got my old stuff. I couldn't find my truck stop pocket box them, and the labels are looking a little worse for wear. They're getting spotty and yellowed, and I wish I had done the pocket box Kickstarter that they did a little while ago, because now I'm regretting not having done it and having to spend twice as much money to replace the plastic boxes. So and I think even at the time they had an option where you could just buy the box and not the game contents inside, because I have all the game contents. I don't need to buy it again. And I was dumb. So Steve Jackson, if you're feeling generous, hit me up. I'd like to get some new boxes. I don't need all the contents. I just want boxes. Yeah, I know, I'm dumb. I missed the Kickstarter. Anyways, getting back. This thing is hefty. It's got a lot of cardboard in it and plastic as well, because the base game comes with 12 miniatures, and then the double ace pledge level came with an additional 10, as well as cards and other stuff like that. So let's get right into it, because so as I was saying, it has this lovely, very sturdy shipping box, and I did take the what do you call it, a moment to remove some of the plastic from some of the items, so you wouldn't have to see me stumble through all that. And right away you can see that it's all very nicely packed. It's even got a little cardboard filler to keep things from slipping around and getting damaged during shipping. Here's the really nice double-sided dice bag. It has two of the new vehicles on it, and it's just really pretty cool looking. It's sizable. It can carry a lot of dice, so it's very nice. And right on top we have some of the expanded vehicle sets, set 1 and set 3, which came with this particular pledge level, you could add on set 2 and 4 as well, which are going to be, I think, shipped separately, because the base pledge comes with set 1 and 3, and if you bought add-ons, you're going to get some of the add-ons separately. They're not all shipping at the same time. We also have some extra cards for weapons and accessories and whatnot. So if you're not familiar with the new edition, the new Car Wars works a little bit like the X-Wing, where you have a vehicle with a certain number of build points, and so you purchase your upgrades. Just like with X-Wing, if you're mounting different weapons, there's little cards with point costs on them, and I'll show some of this stuff up close later. Unfortunately, my double camera setup was just not working the way I wanted it to, so I only have a single camera. I apologize for that. But you can buy machine guns and recoilless rifles and flamethrowers and whatnot, and they'll have point costs associated with them, and rules and which dice you roll associated with them. And so it's similar to X-Wing in that your build, the cost of your build is based upon the chassis plus all of your crew and your weapons that you're mounting. So and then again, we have another one, a dropped weapons pack, and this one's a little bigger because those ones are just cards. This one has all of the counters that you would need to put out on, if you have mines or spikes or whatever, flaming oil. It has some of the counters in here. So we'll get to that. And some crew pack as well, which comes with drivers and gunners of various skill. So they have different point costs, or they may have slightly different powers, or not powers, but abilities. So I haven't looked through all this stuff yet. So I'll try to touch upon some of that today. But that may need a more in-depth video. So again, this was all the extras. Let me scoot this to the side a little bit here. Oh, and you have the nice Steve Jackson logo. And yeah, so these were all these sort of the extras that shipped with that base pledge level, what's called the double ace pledge. So lots of extra cards, counters, 10 extra vehicles, and then I'll get to the base game, which has 12 vehicles inside. I think I did the math wrong the other day, because it was 5, 10. Yeah, I put in my post I said something like 26 vehicles, and I meant 22. Anyways, if you follow me on Twitter. Let's get the retail box out of here. So this is for people who didn't necessarily do the Kickstarter but are going to buy it retail. Let me pull out what... Whoops, having a little bit of... Let me pull this out. Sorry about this. This is the one thing about unboxing videos that always annoy me too, is all that sort of struggling with the stuff as you're trying to get it out. Give me 1 second to put this aside. Put that back there. All right, so here's the retail box. And again, it has this is the deluxe, an homage to the deluxe Car Wars set that came out in the 80s as well. In the old set, you had a red and an orange vehicle racing side by side, and one was shooting a flamethrower at the other, and you could see the flames outside the driver's window. They did very much an homage to that same cover on the new one. Now it's like they're firing a rocket and it's impacting, but the same type of deal. You have the driver in their driver suit with the explosion outside the window, and then the scene showing the two cars below, and that's very much the old style deluxe Car Wars artwork. And then again on the back, they have the pocket box homage artwork. So I think this art is beautiful. Actually, I'm almost a little disappointed that this wasn't the front cover, but actually they're both really great. Whoops, illustrations clearly. So let's. And then at the bottom of the box, here's all of the road tiles, which are sort of puzzle piece tiles that you put together for you to set up your racing track, your scenario, or your stretch of highway, depending on how you want to run it. So it has double-sided jigsaw puzzle pieces that they have a little jigsaw style joins here so you can put them down, and I'll show you that in a little bit. I'm trying to get through this so that the video isn't too long. So let's get inside the contents of the box itself. Got to get that vacuum seal. And so inside, right up top, you'll see that there's these little sort of pizza box style boxes. And the first one is the thin box that contains the rules, the counters, and the dice and whatnot. So, you know, you open it up, and you have all the your cardboard counters, got your dice, got your rule book, of course. And, you know, and the nice thing is the rule book is pretty slim. It has examples and stuff like that, but it's not terribly long. So it isn't a difficult game to actually teach and pick up. And when I played the demos they had at Origins a few years ago, it was so quick to pick up that after a couple games that I was helping, they only had one demo guy there, and I was helping them answer questions because I just, you know, I played Car Wars for years and years. And so picking up these rules was really quite easy. And I was able to sort of, when other people had questions, jump in and give the interpretation I had, you know, just based upon him having taught me an hour or two before. So again, this is, you know, with the extra weapons and stuff like that, that'll add more complexity to the game, but the base game is super simple to teach and run. And one of the really nice things that I knew they were going to do something like this, but I hadn't seen any of the sneak peeks on this particular piece item. And what they did is that, if you remember, the old game had some sample cars for amateur night. So they had like, and what they did is they built pre-built player mats that has everything they need for 6 amateur night vehicles. So they're double-sided. So you have, you know, like Super Flash and Slipstream as an example on this. It gives you the cards for the driver and gunner right on the mat, the gun emplacements, stuff like that, and then you just place the dashboard for tracking your speed and handling status right here. And I'll show you the dashboard for that in a second. But these are fantastic because they give 6 of these what are called 10 build point vehicles. So basically, the amateur night. Sorry, I had a little in my brain. The amateur night, which is sort of the 10 build point, and again, there's 3 of these mats, but of course they're double sided. And then they have 3 additional mats, which are sort of the next level up. So these are the 25 build point vehicles, and so you might have more experienced crew members, and then obviously you have bigger array of weaponry and options and upgrades and whatnot to your vehicle. And all the cards are just printed right on the mat, so you don't have to go through your decks and pull out the introductory game cards. You bring these mats to your buddy's house, bring a couple of the vehicle miniatures. You know, it's. I mean, this is a really great. They really thought about how to get you and your buddies playing this on the table quickly. And, you know, let me talk a moment about that too, for people who haven't seen any of the sneak previews online. The game does play a little bit like an X-Wing style game. Like I said, you build your vehicle with the cards and your crew, and then, you know, you have the dashboard, which tracks your speed, your current handling status. You know, of course, you're armored on all sides, just like the old game. So you actually take location damage. It's not just like a generalized, I have 3 hull points or I have 3 shields. Like with X-Wing, you know, you do have mounting locations for the weapons on the sides, on the front, on the back, all that sort of stuff. So I really like it because it has the simplicity of the movement of sort of a X-Wing or Gaslands style game, but it still has the armor locations. It still has like a lot of the handling difficulty classes, a lot of the fun stuff that you remember from from the classic Car Wars game. And speaking of which, this is the new turning key. And the reason it has this nice little curve is that the bases for the vehicles have like a hollow spot on top. So it's really easy, for those of us who played the old game, you remember the turning key was this sort of geometrical cardstock thing. Then you would kind of put it next to the edge of your car, stuff like that. And this is the same idea, but executed in a really nice fashion. Because like I said, the vehicle has a base, so you can just you slide the vehicle up until it gets to put the nose of the vehicle at the front of the card. And then depending upon how much of a turn you're taking, how steep of the maneuver, you just edge the nose over to do, like green, yellow, red. You just turn your miniature. And that's what this sort of sloped edge is for, is that you slide the miniature around, and you'll see when you see the bases, it's very apparent how it all works. But it's a super elegant way to handle the difficulty classes. I mean, it's such a great idea, and you don't have because the dice are color coded to these difficulty classes: the green, yellow, red, and white. Because the dice are color coded, you just pick out which dice you've crossed. So the D1 maneuver is one green die. The D2 maneuver is a green die and a yellow die. The D3 maneuver is the green, yellow, and red, and the D4 is all 4 colors of the dice. And you just roll those for your control. That's your control roll, is which dice you end up using based upon the template. I mean, it's a pretty really elegant way to handle this. And you could actually still use the old school turning key too. You just have to map which dice go to which angles, which is actually not that difficult. But I'll pull, when I pull out the models, I'll try to demo it real quick. I don't want this to go too long though. But again, so the first pizza box is the rules and the dice and the encounters. Now the second pizza boxes, the second and third, I should say, are the miniatures box. So we have miniature box A and miniature box B. And then so inside there's the game currently supports up to 4 players. You could probably hack it to support more, but there are going to be some challenges in terms of how you house rule certain things with that. And then here's the control board, and let me move some of this aside. I'm sorry, I don't have a close-up camera. I'll put some pictures on the blog, but basically, you have your basically your tire damage. Like you have all your armor damage on the outside, so you have armor placement damage. So the maximum armor you can put on one of your vehicles is 12 points. Then you have the tire damage on this side, and as the tire takes more damage, you start to lose some control capabilities. And then the tires are over here. Tires are over here. This is your power plant damage over here. Tire damage over here, and then as you take more tire damage, you can take hazards and lose control. And then you have your speed, and the faster you go, you can also lose control. And as a matter of fact, speed is they made the speed almost a little bit too punishing. I'll have to play it a few times, but there was a lot of wipeouts when we did the game at the con. But that makes it also for fun and excitement, because you're rolling, you're pressing your luck constantly with your maneuvers, stuff like that. And again, that's one of those things that if you find that people are wiping out too much, it's easy enough to just dial that back a little bit. Maybe allow people to take away one die or whatever. There are mitigating factors. You get little control tokens that you can spend, or ace tokens that you can spend to try to eliminate some of the difficulty. But so in the first box you have two of the player dashboards. Second box has the other 2. You have the cards for the red and yellow vehicles, and I think basically there's 2 copies of every card, and they have a color coded banding so that you can separate the decks, so that if you are doing some car deck generation with your friends, everybody can get their own deck. If you know, and they have all the weapons that everybody else has options to, because you'll have 4 copies of every card. So that's a really nice thing. Of course, these are the little tokens that go actually onto the dashboard. I'll try to show that later. I'll probably have to break this up into several videos. And then you have the mounts. So these are the vehicle mounts that I was talking about, and it might be a little hard to see, but in the center you'll see it's slightly raised. The front and the back have little feet, and the center is slightly raised, and that is what allows you. Of course, now I threw the thing. That is what allows you to sort of do that maneuvering. So if we take one of the vehicles, and I'm going to show some of these vehicles up close, but let's say we're playing with this kind of off-roady looking guy. You know, these vehicles are really, really pretty cool. I mean, the one thing I did notice about a couple of them, and I don't know if this necessarily bothers me, is that, and it may just be that I'm so used to the Hot Wheels Matchbox aesthetic, that like for some of the vehicles, it looks like the wheels are kind of tiny. I don't know if that's just, and it may be that they're actually to scale, but I am kind of used to that sort of Hot Wheels aesthetic that has the chunky wheels. But anyways, you can put the vehicle right on the mount. It has a couple of mount pegs. Just drop whatever vehicle onto the mount. So that's a nice little thing. And then, again, as I was saying, it's going to might be hard for you to see. I'm sorry I don't have the close-up camera, but you slide the vehicle. Let's pull it back. Slide the vehicle along the counter, and then when you do your little maneuver, you just. Why can I tilt it? What's going on? Okay, yeah. So you slide it underneath. You do your little maneuver, and then depending upon what line, it basically matches up. How far over you're going. D1, D2, yeah, sorry, you can't see it that well. But, depending upon how far over your vehicle slides on the counter, that shows you which dice, what difficulty class you've maneuvered, and which dice you should pick up. So it's pretty easy, And so again, there's one of the vehicles. I'll try to get a little closer and show some of them up close. And they come unpainted, obviously. So we've got a lot of work cut out for us over the next weeks. So this is the red and yellow boxes, the blue and green box as well. So so the nice thing about this too is it comes with this nice, tray that fits all the particular vehicles from that particular box. So a great way to sort of transport, and here's one of the ones from the cover. I think the sort of the speedster with the guns mounted by the hood. I'll stand up and get them closer. But so yeah, 5 cars in this box, in the first pizza box, with their bases and their controls. And then second pizza box. The power of suction. So let's move this over here. Sorry, get that out of the way a little bit. Yeah, just spilled out all my counters everywhere. And then, second pizza box. Same type of thing. Has the blue and green dashboards. So everybody always knows which vehicle is theirs. You'll notice that the dashboards are color-coded to the bases, and you can actually buy bases separately. I can't remember if I put any in my add-on or not. I think I just didn't bother. because if I remember correctly, some bases may come in the extras. I'll have to look, but they even have clear bases in case you want to just, you know, you could always number them or put a little sticker on them, 1, 2, 3, 4. And again, you just pick up these vehicles. Yeah, I'm gonna have to do a separate video just to show the vehicles up close, because some of them are really, really quite excellent. The sculpts, and they kind of have some of them have sort of the futuristic racing style, and then some of them have that sort of kit-bashed post-apocalyptic style. There's kind of a mix. So depending upon what you like, you can just, use, and you don't even have to use the car that matches, the picture on your little pre-gen if you don't want, it doesn't matter. As long as everybody knows that, oh, I'm the green base, or I'm the blue base. That's kind of all that's important. So let me hold one of them up, though. A bit of a glare, sorry about that. My light is almost too bright for this camera right here. Yeah, I'm not giving me a good focus. All right. Well, I'll do a separate video that just focuses on the vehicles. I'll instead of just using my crappy webcam, I'll actually film it with my phone, which has a better resolution, and so you'll be able to see some of the stuff. But yeah, so 5 vehicles in each of the sets. Again, a copy of the green and the blue cards, which all the same cards repeated, and of course the tokens for. All right, so let's put some of this. Like I said, I'll do the miniatures separate so that everybody can see them up close. Let me throw these back in the box real quick before I very quickly touch upon the contents of the expansion bits that came in the Kickstarter. It was a pretty tight fit. But, and I have to say they did a really good job on packaging design. Steve Jackson really, just like with the Ogre set, where they made sure that you had a space for, all of your Ogre vehicles and whatnot. Although I got so many of the expansion bits with my Ogre vehicles that I still even have like overflow, just because I got so many extras. I put the counters away real quickly. Sorry about that. Just throw them up here separate. Okay. All right, so here's a turning key. I've got an extra base out in case I need to show it. Of course, I talked about the road tiles. Let me quickly pop some of those so we can show these up front. They have kind of a wasteland aesthetic to them, desert sort of wasteland. And the road tiles come with extra counters. So you could even run, if you're playing with some friends and you have a lot of friends playing, you can run 2 tables. There's enough. If you buy the extra bases, you got extra turning keys. You got extra counters. You could run the game for 2. There's even even if you don't have all of the player dashboards, there's ways there's actually printouts. I even built a printout online that's in my Facebook group that is like an extra control board in case somebody needs it. I didn't copy any of the Steve Jackson IP. I tried to do it differently so that fair use would be followed, so to speak. I'm not trying to steal money from Steve Jackson. I'm just, if you got 8 friends and you only have one box, you have 12 cards in the box. You could technically play 4 games at once if you have enough of the control tokens and whatnot. So, okay, so these are the big road puzzle pieces. So we have straights and curves, and intersections. And, I think they tried to print these in such a way. I mean, it is interesting that some sides have straights and some have curves. I almost expected it to be curve on one side and then opposite curve on the other side, because, with these types of puzzle pieces, you can only connect them in so many ways. You can't connect them on all sides because you can't have a male connector to a male connector. Obviously, you need, the so-called male to female. Oh, and that one doesn't connect. So yeah, here's the problem. You gotta search for the two that'll go together, because like these two, as an example, I can't get them into a configuration that works because those are separate. What about the other side? Yeah. But anyways, there's that's why it comes with 18 tiles, is that you're gonna have to occasionally search for the one. Okay, so yeah, here goes. We have a connection. You just have to find the tiles that match up where the road touches one another properly. Little miniature parking lot, stuff like that. We have intersections, more straights and curves. Some of the tiles have like explosion damages, and then some are clean, and they all have that. They all have this sandy wasteland sort of style to it. And there's Steve Jackson even put out some play mats that are in the same style. It'll be interesting if the play mats. I know the play mats don't exactly match. I mean, they are in the same theme as the road tiles, but obviously the play mats don't have the notches. But there may be a way that you can like underlap. If you align it just right, you might be able to combine the two. But it's going to be a little bit kludgy, obviously, and actually the artwork on the play mats is a little bit tilted. They wanted to make it feel like less square and more random, more sort of chaotic. So they made some changes. But anyways, it's pretty basic stuff. You have all kinds of variations of roads. So you can, and some basic off-road stuff. Mud pit. More muddy lake areas. So you can decide what, I'm sure there's rules in the road tiles about like what consists of a hazard and whatnot. So there you have it. 18 of these double-sided tiles. Like I said, that can be done in various combinations, front and back. You just got to make sure that that the roads line up when you hook them up. All right, very quickly, we'll do the expansions before we wrap this up. And again, I'm not going to do everything in detail. I'll probably do a separate video to show some stuff. So we got Crew Pack, which is, again, just like with vehicles, you have 4 copies of every person and item, so that if more than one person wants to use the same crew, you have it, and so you have people, and there's some items in there as well, and the tokens that of course go along with the particular crew pack, like if they have a special weapon or some other special rules that goes with them and that require tokens, or if they exit the vehicle even. I think there may be pedestrian rules that got included. So I'm not going to open those cards right now. Yeah, so this particular set has 108 cards, which is 27 per player. So 9 drivers, 9 gunners, and a vehicle accessory, some driver and gunner gear, and sidearms. So other stuff besides just the pistol and whatnot that comes in the base game. So that's kind of cool. So that's a nice little booster, well, yeah, let me read that first guy. So yeah, the drivers and the gunners have sometimes special, little abilities. Like this one says, when when making a maneuver, add 1 blue die to your driving roll and add a yellow die when this driver attacks. So if he can focus, I guess the idea is if he can focus on his driving, he maneuvers better. But if he's distracted by having to fire and drive, then he's may not drive as well. So there's a drawback, and that's what makes him he's a 0 point, so he doesn't cost anything because he has a bonus and a drawback at the same time. And then, the ones that have all bonuses are going to cost 2 or 3 or 4 points even. So that's, really, real cool idea. Just similar to the X-Wing, they all have like little special abilities, and that can make the tactical part of the game a little different for each player, which is nice. And then dropped weapons pack, again, spikes, flaming oil, stuff like that. All of the counters that you need for those types of things for throwing stuff onto the battlefield, and then your copies of all the cards. And this one, again, 108 cards. So, most of them have 4. Most of them have 4 copies. Some of them have 8 copies in cases like you want to mount on multiple sides of your vehicle. That's stuff like that. So, and then, lots of extra counters and extra cards for things like, it looks like the spikes and the wreckage. Oh, those are the hazard cards. Okay, yes, those are hazard cards. Counters, etc. But dropped weapons pack. Armory and linked weapons. Of course, linked weapons is when you have 2 weapons of the same variety that fire together when you fire them. So it's not just one roll. It might add more dice at once. And now let's quickly look at some of the. So these are the sort of half pizza boxes. Come with 5 vehicles in them, and the cards. And yep, there you go. There's your extra bases. So yeah, you could get if you bought the double ace pack, and you have enough friends, you could have like 3 games going at once, pretty easily. Because you're gonna have 22 vehicles to choose from, and a boatload of cards, so people can mount up and roll out. So yeah, and all. Again, you won't be able to see the cards that well, but they're big, they're chunky. They're actually I saw the pictures online, but when you have them in your hand and you see them up close, they're really nice sized, chunky miniatures. Again, this one has little teeny wheels for some reason. Like I said, I'm so used to that sort of Hot Wheels aesthetic with the big wheels that, even if these wheels are probably to scale, which they likely are, they seem so small. Because we've been playing with die-cast cars with oversized wheels our entire lives. But I'm looking forward to painting a bunch of these up. It's going to be quite a task. So, last but not least, we'll wrap this up, and I'll do a video that shows like some of all the details of these sets. But they're not small. Some of the vehicles are real seriously chunky. I mean, this bad boy right there. So, you know what? I was dumb. I should have had a Hot Wheel on the table for size comparison. But yeah, these are Hot Wheel scale, 1/64 roughly. Approximately. It's scale for these types of things is never exact. But they wanted to make it Hot Wheel scale because obviously a lot of people are used to playing games like Gaslands or other things where people are taking their Hot Wheels and kit bashing, or a lot of us actually used Hot Wheels to play. We upscaled the old Car Wars rules to go from like 1 inch long lengths to 2 or 3 inch lengths, depending upon how we wanted to play it. And so they did essentially the same. They just kind of scaled it up so that everybody gets these really nice, big, chunky cars. So there it is. That was the sorry. Car Wars 6th edition unboxing. So, I'm really happy this is here now, and I'm looking forward to hopefully getting a chance to playing this weekend. If that ends up, if I can get some of my folks together, and among all the other stuff like kids and real life stuff. But I hope yours arrives soon, and if it doesn't, I keep knocking the camera. If you haven't ordered through the Kickstarter, you can pre-order through Steve Jackson's site now to get the big box, and all the expansions are out there. So I've been Marty, also known as Raging Owlbear on social media. I probably should have said that at the beginning of the video. So have a good day. And what's the saying? Well, anyways, have a good day.